Hey, we are in June of 2021. This month will mark the 10-year anniversary of. I don't want to over exaggerate it, and I hope that I'm not over exaggerating it by what I'm saying. I'm going to say the 10-year anniversary of one of the greatest wrestling promos ever cut by a performer on a major wrestling platform.
No,
Note what I just said. Major wrestling platform.
no doubt.
The 10-year anniversary of what has become known as the pipe bomb by a ex retired former professional wrestler by the name of CM also known as Phil Brooks. What can be said about this promo that hasn't already been said? I don't know, but I felt that in the spirit of the behind the scene podcast and some of the topics that we address on this particular platform, anyone who is in tune with wrestling is familiar with this promo by CM Punk. You'd agree with that, right?
No doubt, dude. I mean, like you said, 10-year anniversary of the pipe bomb promo. That shit is living on forever. What CM Punk did with his career, what he stood for, how he battled the company, how he battled the ratings, how he battled basically being buried, and to come out on top of it all and leave on that stage with that pipe bomb promo. No one else will ever do that again. No one else will
Uh-huh.
ever come close to the realness and the basically he wasn't playing games, man. That pipe bomb promo is like the definition of like breaking the rules. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
yeah.
Like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
that pipe bomb is the truth, man.
So before we and before we get into what was actually said during the promo, like I just want to give a little bit of background here. Just a little bit of background.
I
So I worked at Walgreens at the time during the summer of 2011. I was taking like fucking summer classes at the local community college. I got off work on this particular Monday night, and like so many other people do, when you're doing homework, you got your homework, your study material, but you also got your YouTube open as a distraction for your study break. So in accident, but
yo, Jack, you say that one more time. You went out for
oh
like
yeah,
10 seconds.
happened purely by accident. I want to say there was like a recommended box because I mean I always used to look at old wrestling videos and the recommended box it said CM Punk live promo or whatever. I'm like CM Punk, like the dude that used to wrestle that wrestled on the ECW remake or whatever. All right, let me click on this. Right, I watched this promo. Somebody like recorded it off of their phone and uploaded it to YouTube. That night, I watched that promo like maybe 3, 4 times, and it didn't hit me until going back and looking at the description in the video that this happened the same night. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, yeah.
This was the same night. So in my head, it was like, they doing this? Like this kind of shit is happening on WWE TV. Like this is what's going on right here. Like, okay. So, let me see what's going on here, right? The Money in the Bank pay-per-view coming up. He says that whatever. Obviously, I always knew that wrestling was a work, but this was one of those moments where even though it was a work, I was invested in it because as a fan or as somebody who watched wrestling that stopped watching it, a lot of the things that were said in that promo were real feelings. I was interested enough in what was being said in that moment to at least be willing to go back and try to track down more of CM Punk, more of even his matches and promos and all of that. And by default, it got me back into wrestling because that was an element of it that felt real. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, do you remember not necessarily what you were doing, where you were, but what were your general feelings when you first heard this promo by CM Punk?
I was shocked, man. My jaw dropped because no one had said anything even even remotely close to what he said on that promo. And it reminded me a lot of the feelings of the Montreal screw job, the realness
Wow.
of it, you know? It
Mm-hmm.
felt real. It just like you weren't supposed to watch this. He wasn't supposed to say these things. Like he was out of control in the sense that damn, like they can't put him under the collar. You know what I'm saying? Triple H can't bury this dude. He can't keep him silent. I remember the lead up was it? He said, "You don't need to work with me to Hunter." He said, "You don't need to work with. I don't need to work with you. You need to work with me."
Right,
Like
right.
and like those moments, man, you felt that. Like that was some realness to what he was saying, man. Because we knew the sentiments from the backstage, from the back office, how they felt about him. Think I'll quote Triple H and Shawn Michaels felt like he was a fat ass, skinny fat ass who should be working at a Waffle House at 2 a.m. You know what I'm saying? Like they didn't he was not your traditional mold of a wrestler. He didn't have the big burly muscles. He didn't get the tan. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't have the 8 packs and the 6 packs. He wasn't one of the boys. He was kind
Right,
of an outsider, you know?
right. He wasn't 6'7" and all that. He didn't look like Randy Orton or Batista.
Right, right. So when he delivered that pipe bomb promo, it was just unbelievable. It was something that was like, I cannot believe he said that shit. But that's why he's going to stand the test of time. That's why he is CM Punk because he literally was. I know, and no disrespect to Stone Cold, but Stone Cold being the character of the guy who says fuck the rules and getting over his boss, CM Punk was really that in real life. And for him to somehow manage to actually do that with Vince McMahon, one of the most powerful businessmen in the world, you know, and the history of Triple H and the back
Man,
politics and
man.
the crew and all these hurdles he has to overcome to even get to that point and to say those things, knowing fully aware that hey, I may not come back, but I'm CM Punk. I'm gonna be fine. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Yes.
So,
N-
man, it's just it's incredible, man.
and now comes, I think, the what I was looking forward to the most in discussing this particular topic. You got to get into some of the things that he was actually saying, and I fucked up because I should have pulled up a transcript, but I'm going off of the dome here. Some of the
All right.
things that he said here. He said, he said, in this ring, on this microphone, and even on commentary, nobody can touch me. I am the best wrestler in the world. Now, in 2011, like I was saying, I wasn't up on, New Japan Pro Wrestling. I wasn't watching modern professional wrestling. So, by him saying that he was the best wrestler, what came to my mind were actual, matches, working matches. During that time in WWE, with the work style that they were doing and what was being presented on TV, yes, CM Punk was the best wrestler in WWE. I didn't know who the fuck Daniel Bryan was until later on in that year when I started watching it again.
Mm.
Clearly, of course, Daniel Bryan was probably always a better technical professional wrestler than CM Punk. I will not deny that at all, but I didn't know who he was. I didn't watch Ring of Honor. I wasn't a tape trader or none of that. You know what I'm saying? So it's just when and how often, and even now in modern WWE, no one will get on a microphone and say, I am the best wrestler in the world. You're not going to hear somebody saying that. You're not going to hear somebody say, I'm the best on this microphone. You're not going to hear that. But I'm going to get more into the things that he said about WWE in this promo. He said Vince McMahon is a millionaire who should be a billionaire. Now, obviously, we know Vince McMahon is a billionaire now in 2021. He said, I'd like to think that this company is going to get better after Vince McMahon dies, but it's going to get handed over to his doofus, to what did he say? He said to his idiot daughter and his doofus son-in-law or the rest of his stupid family. Whoa.
Yeah. That is pretty spot on. He said his idiot daughter and his doofus son-in-law.
Now let's get into some context here, right? A week ago, last week, Triple H in an interview with some of the people in wrestling media, kind of put his foot in his mouth with some of the statements that he made. Now, it's not a secret that NXT is the best professional wrestling under the WWE banner that nobody watches. And I don't watch NXT either. Now, this man really blamed the fans for not having faith in NXT because it's not a secret. The wrestlers who on NXT go to the main roster and they die. They go to the main roster, they get a push on TV for 2 weeks, they job, and then they get released.
Yep.
and Triple H blamed the fans, even though he knows better than to say some shit like that. This man said that you're not the best in the world, referring to, I think, some of the women who are in wrestling, if they don't wrestle and they're not signed to WWE. Again, come on, bro. What are we talking about here? Are we going to call bullshit on this or not? I do not watch Monday Night Raw. I don't. I listen to the Solid Monster Sounds Off podcast to get my wrestling content. At this very moment, there's a storyline involving Alexa Bliss, a doll, and Shayna Baszler. And that is the premier storyline in women's wrestling on main roster WWE. But that is the best women's wrestling in the world.
That's it right there. Yep.
Okay. So, I mean, and this is something that he said 10 years ago. He dropped the name of a man by the name of John Laurinaitis, who left as talent relations and is the talent relations person now in WWE. In the last 2 weeks, how many people from WWE have been fired and or released?
Too many to count, man. Too many to count. Some haymakers, too.
And it's almost like literally close to 10 years to the date of that promo. A lot of the things that were said have came to fruition either by accident or on purpose, intentionally. No, of course, Vince McMahon is going to die rich. Vince McMahon, as a businessman, as a person, is still arguably one of the most interesting people who have ever lived in the history of America, in the history of business, whatever. When Vince McMahon dies, there will never be another person like him to walk this earth. That goes without saying. But this man has literally, like, Monday Night Raw is unwatchable. Monday, and it sucks because Bobby Lashley is the champion on Monday Night Raw, and it's fucking unwatchable. But at this point, it doesn't matter because the bag is already secured. I don't have to watch Monday Night Raw. You don't have to watch Monday Night Raw. Millions of people worldwide have stopped watching Monday Night Raw, and they are making more money than they have ever made. You know what I'm saying? The catchphrase for WWE should literally be "fuck wrestling."
I know, man. Record profit years. Record, like,
yeah,
man. It's not even about. Yeah, I mean, They secured the bag, the Peacock deal, the Fox deal. Dude, they was making a whole lot. Vince making a whole lot of moves, man. They don't have to try. They don't literally do not have to try anymore.
And further than that, just kind of going further than this, and just keeping it specific to CM Punk and this promo in particular. With where WWE is now, not only as a publicly traded company, not only as a billion-dollar company, not only as a seminal figure in this streaming wars, just overall, the way that they kind of pigeonholed and managed their talent, a pipe bomb promo is not possible in the context of what it was when CM Punk delivered it. If it was a work, if somebody helped him with it backstage, whatever, all of that is well and good because I was invested in it. It would be impossible for any talent on the WWE roster to even cut a promo similar to that because it would be bullshit. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Something like that can't manifest itself organically anymore because that's not the type of company that the WWE is at all. They're not interested in being that type of company, right? CM Punk during that summer that they like to call the summer of Punk. I'm just going to do a quick rundown here, bro, right?
Go ahead, man.
So he cuts the promo. People get back invested in wrestling and all that, right? It leads into the Money in the Bank match with John Cena. I didn't watch it on pay-per-view. I watched it on YouTube back when people could get away with that kind of shit. Shout out to the Pirates, by the way. He wins the title from John Cena and leaves. They brought him back to WWE television in 2 weeks, bro.
Damn.
Like, and then he lost the belt at SummerSlam. Then, after losing the belt at SummerSlam, loses a match to Triple H. Well, he shouldn't have lost.
Wonder why.
Yes, because Triple H, to quote a very controversial figure in professional wrestling, Triple H is the guy that you put in with the guy who was drawing money. True or false?
True. Very
Like,
true.
I will never forget looking at Triple H trying to do worked shoot promos with CM Punk, skinny fat ass, all of that shit. I remember that. And it's like they did a match with a stipulation where if Triple H lost, he had to quit as COO of the company. Okay. And storyline, Triple H just got the fucking job. So why would he lose the match for the job that he just took? Like, you know what I'm saying? The shit kind of got convoluted, Kevin Nash hits this guy with a jackknife power bomb. No match between him and CM Punk. Like, the fact that this guy was still over enough by the time he won the belt is a fucking miracle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, man. You ain't telling no lie, bro.
That's a fucking miracle. Like, and we're not a wrestling podcast, but this is just one of these very interesting topics because in this modern era, excuse me, my bad, brother.
Yeah, you good, man.
And this just kind of compare and contrasting it 10 years later. In this modern era of wrestling, there's no way that a guy is going to get buried like that. And even if he's still getting cheered, guess what? We're going to keep fucking burying this guy. We're going to keep pinning him clean. We're going to keep putting him through these tables. You know what I'm saying? We're going to keep...
Jax is going to put her hands on you.
Yes, we're going to keep doing everything that we can do for the fans of this product to not be interested in you. Because at the end of the day, WWE wants you to be a fan of the product as opposed to being a fan of the individual talents. That's the biggest difference between then and now. And The best example to give here is look at how some of these guys from NXT get handled. You know, from about 20, I'm gonna say from about 2015 to about 2019, NXT was the best thing they had smoking in WWE. Crowd reactions, all of that. Arguably, everybody who was on NXT that got called up to the main roster was on fire while they were quote unquote in developmental. You know what I mean? They go to the main roster, they get that pop, and then it's a wrap. I'll give you some names here that got called up from NXT here real quick, bro. All right.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Okay. Shinsuke Nakamura.
Mm. He's
Uh,
he's still hanging on, man. He's still hanging on.
yep.
Should have won that title at WrestleMania, but hey,
Yep.
you know.
Yep. Shinsuke Nakamura. Let's see. Obviously, Aleister Black is no longer on the roster.
Oh,
I mean, Braun Strowman didn't have too much time in NXT. Finn Balor went from NXT to the main roster and back to NXT.
he survived.
He survived, but he was an international superstar. Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode, they treated Bobby Roode like he was fucking Ric Flair on NXT, bruh.
Yeah, man.
This nigga had the entrance, he had the robes, and all of that. He got maybe 2 entrances on SmackDown and then just became another guy. You know what I'm
He had
saying?
that glorious. He had a good intro, man.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He had a fire ass intro. My man from Mexico, Andrade, that's on AEW. Oh man, he's on AEW now.
Uh,
Rusev, out of there. Who
done.
else was on there? The Vaudevillains, out of there. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, and if nobody knows who the Vaudevillains are, good. You know what I'm saying? The Revival, who are also on NXT or on AEW now. I could continue this, but for the sake of brevity and not becoming a wrestling podcast, I'm just gonna digress here. The whole point of it is that a guy like CM Punk could never survive in this era now. A promo like that, we would see through that instantly if a talent were to come out and just start trying to talk some real shit, quote unquote, during a segment on Monday Night Raw. We would see through it because we know it wouldn't be real. You know what I'm saying? Even if it was a
Right.
work, even if it was a work in the time that it happened, there were enough real feelings attached to it to where I was invested. One of the best segments that they've done on Monday Night Raw. And I hate it when they do the fucking championship contract signings. The best contract signing that they have ever done on WWE TV is the contract signing for the 2011 Money in the Bank match. CM Punk, John Cena, Vince McMahon. Oh my, bruh.
Man.
I'll kick you in the nuts and you'll like it. You know what I mean? Like, bruh. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, man. Dude is a legend, man. Dude is a legend for being a rebel.
And the crowd was on fire behind that, bro. A month later, they did another contract signing for SummerSlam. CM Punk, John Cena, Triple H was in the ring, and John Laurinaitis was in the ring. And I could watch that right now because the shit that this dude was saying was genuine, man. Like, legitimately, yes, he broke the fourth wall. Yeah, he threw some names in there that fans would know from reading dirt sheets and everything like that. But the game has changed so much now to where it doesn't feel real anymore. You know what I'm saying? For whatever Roman Reigns is doing as a heel on SmackDown, it might be entertaining. It might be a part of his personality. This thing with him and his cousins is cool, but you know that they're playing a character.
Right.
With CM Punk, it didn't feel like he was playing a character. And for that reason alone, I feel like the 10-year anniversary of this pipe bomb promo is something that people have to take into account. Like, bro, I sent you this text message. When I made Staff Sergeant, I fucking listened to that promo, dog. You know what I'm saying? When they told me that I tested and made staff in 2018, bro, like I really had to listen to that promo because it was like, fuck yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Anybody who has ever felt that they've been put in a situation where the odds weren't in their favor, or people played politics, or people went out of their way to try to kind of dim their star a little bit, can relate to the things that he was saying, even if you don't watch wrestling. You know what I mean?
Right. The true underdog, man. The true
Yeah.
underdog.
Austin 316 was a great moment in wrestling. It made a star. It was one of those moments for one of the biggest guys in the history of that business. But that pipe bomb by CM Punk, everybody could relate to that because you know what I'm saying? Stone Cold won the King of the Ring. He was the winner when he was cutting that promo. CM Punk hadn't won shit. He hadn't won a damn thing in that moment when he said that. So, you know, and just kind of my final thought on this, because I don't know. I think we might have went a little bit too long with this B-roll. But in my personal opinion, bro, and I want to get your take on this as well. I do not think that CM Punk will ever return to a WWE ring. I don't think he'll ever wrestle for that company again.
Oh
Because
no.
if you think about it, Vince McMahon and WWE have always kind of prided themselves on getting everybody to come back. You know, Bret Hart came back after Montreal, after the tragedy that happened with his brother, after the shit with Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart came back. Stone Cold came back after taking his ball and going home. The Rock came back after they kind of tried to, after they sent John Cena after him to cut promos on him. Batista came back. Ultimate Warrior, right before he died, came back.
Yep.
You know what I mean? How many times has Hulk Hogan came back?
Countless.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think Bruno Sammartino came back. CM Punk, I do not see a scenario where he comes back because I don't think he said it when he did the shoot interview. I didn't want to give them the fucking privilege.
Right. You're right, man. WWE, and they like to cripple you on your way out. They like to bury you on your way out. And I mean, CM Punk walked out of the WWE on top of the world, man. No other wrestler can say they left that company the way he did with pride and dignity. You know what I'm saying? No one else. No one else had a bad working relationship with the company or Vince McMahon and left that company stronger than where they were before they entered, man. Nobody. I mean, no, like you said, Brett came back. Everyone else has come back, but CM Punk was like, "Nah, man. Like, I'm good. He stuck to his word. He was real about it. Even if Vince passes and Triple H takes over, he's still not gonna come back into WWE. That's a done deal, man. And the dude is doing his thing, and we'll see him make some commentary now and then, but what makes that pipe bomb even more special is because he lives it. It's not like he said those things and then like 3 years later he made his return. You know what I'm saying? Or he has a working relationship. I mean, I think he's still friends with Paul Heyman, maybe a few other people, but you don't really see him hanging out with them. You don't see him buddy up with them, like
Right.
He doesn't even hang out with AEW or other stars. He really just kind of keeps himself for the most part. So that's what I think makes that shit so real.
And the thing is, bro, like I know for a fact when WWE goes back on the road next month, and when they start getting into the arenas, bro, the chants are coming back. The chants are coming back. the CM Punk chants are gonna come back.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. Like to me, the CM Punk chants are fucking stupid. Like there's no point in chanting CM Punk. Like that's pretty fucking dumb. But whatever. It is pretty fucking stupid that they still do that. But the chants are gonna come back. Now, do I think that CM Punk is a nice person? No. If I seen him at the airport, or if I seen him at your local MMA gym or at your local Starbucks, am I gonna walk up to CM Punk and try to shake his hand? No. No.
Nah.
No, I'm
Nah,
not.
man. You're asking for it. If you can't tell, you can't tell by the way he acts in the ring.
Stay
Nah.
away.
Stay
Yeah,
away.
stay away. Don't do that. But I'll give him that measure of respect because it's like you said, bro. I mean, he was the champion for he like in the era, like now in this current era, they don't have a problem with putting the belt on somebody and giving them a run for a year. When CM Punk was WWE champion, they said he was like the longest booked champion in a while. 400 and something days. Like that title run was there and it meant something. But even when they never wanted him to be the top guy, even when he had the belt. Like
Right.
he lost to The Rock, lost to The Undertaker, and lost to Brock Lesnar. But they were all good matches. You know, he was booked for a match with Triple H at WrestleMania and was like, "Nah, I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. You know what I'm saying? I'm good. Just think about that."
It's all about the game and how you play it.
I mean, and I would have loved to see him shit on Triple H in them promos leading up to that WrestleMania. But
Yeah.
if that happens, what really happened at WrestleMania that year probably wouldn't have happened. But
Right.
do you think he ever wrestles again? Even if it's not for WWE, do you think
Mm.
CM Punk ever wrestles again?
You know, I don't think so, man. I think he's held off for all these years. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think financially he's got to be set. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's fine. I don't think he wants to go to AEW or Ring of Honor or any of those kind of things. I think there's a little bit of a mystique around him because he doesn't really do much. He's hidden. He's a guy who literally went out on top, right? Without a career-ending injury, without anything fatal. So, I mean, for God's sake, Gangrel is still wrestling, man.
Right.
Gangrel is still wrestling with the vampire gimmick still
That's
in some indie wrestling. Still.
and he wasn't that good when he was in his prime, bro.
So you can only imagine him right now. But I mean that's the thing, man. That's the thing. He went out with some pride. I think he has enough pride in him to be like, nah, I'm good, man. I don't think we'll ever see him in that ring on TV ever again. Maybe he'll do a house show, maybe some weird offshoot type shit randomly, but I think we really seen his last major in ring appearance when that in his WWE career, man. I think that's it for him.
Okay. So this is what I'll say. I think that if he ever does work any matches, I don't see him if he works in the US, if he works any matches in the US, I don't see it being a scenario where it's under contract for any company. If he ever felt inclined to do it, I think it would be strictly independent because he started as an independent wrestler in the
Right.
United States. I don't see him doing anything with AEW because well, I guess we could talk AEW at a later
Yeah.
date.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see him wrestle in New Japan just because I think that the craft of professional wrestling is appreciated more and taken more seriously by that particular promotion. I could see him doing like one match in New Japan, and it being like, one of those matches that Dave Meltzer gives 10 stars. Or
Right, right. Well, one of the few 5-star ratings for WWE is by
Yeah.
CM Punk. One of
Right.
the very few. Yep.
So I could see him doing a match in New Japan, and if he ever wrestled in the United States, it would be independent. I don't think he would give. I don't see him giving WWE the time of day, and I think that with AEW, they might just be a little bit too. They just might be a little bit too far out there for him to want to have his name attached to something like that now.
Yeah, that roster is a little bloated.
And yeah, people can make jokes about the thing with the UFC or whatever. Yeah, he got his ass whooped because he was supposed to get his ass whooped. There was
Yeah,
no
anyone could walk in that arena and try it out for yourself and see what happens.
and yeah, other than that, I know he did some writing for Marvel Comics, which is cool, but in his prime, 2011, the CM Punk pipe bomb is something that's gonna stand the test of time. I hope that it's still on YouTube. I plan on going back to revisit it every now and then. If I'm in a bad mood, if I'm having a bad day, if I need a little bit of extra motivation to help me keep that edge and that chip on my shoulder, that's one of the YouTube clips that I'm going to because of the feelings and the sentiments that are there. Any last words, anything further that you want to add on to that hasn't already been said in relation to the pipe bomb promo, bro?
Man, CM Punk did not join Vince McMahon's Kiss My Ass Club. Major props to him for doing that. Y'all like, share, subscribe. We're out.
Yeah.